Good luck, or is it good governance? One way or another, Northern Ireland has the lowest death rate in the UK and was the first part of the UK to roll out track and trace almost 2 weeks ago now. I'm joined now by the First Minister of Northern Ireland, Arlene Foster. Welcome, Arlene Foster. A refreshing question to ask you. Is it simply good luck? You've got a slightly more sparsely dispersed population in Northern Ireland, or have you done something right in Northern Ireland that the rest of the country hasn't done? Because the figures are quite stark in terms of death rates.
Well, good morning, Andrew, from sunny Fermanagh. It is good to be with you this morning. I think there's a number of elements. Yes, population density in Northern Ireland is a lot lower than, for example, London. If you look at the figures, it's nearly 5,000 per square kilometre in London, whereas here in County Fermanagh, that figure's 36. That gives you an idea of the population density. But I also think as well, because we were a little behind in terms of the transmission of the disease, the lockdown measures came in relatively then sooner here in Northern Ireland, if you're looking at how the virus has moved. And then, of course, we have been very pleased with the way in which the population of Northern Ireland has abided by the regulations. I'm not minimising their part at all, because they have really been very good in terms of sticking by the regulations and obeying what we have put in place.
And let's just underscore what's happened. The death rates in Northern Ireland are 26 per 100,000 people, as compared with 46 per 100,000 in England and Wales and 51 in Scotland. It's a dramatic difference. And you've also, as I said, been contact tracing now for 2 weeks. Can I ask you how it's going so far?
Well, the contact tracing is very much part of coming out of the restrictions. It's about testing, tracing, isolating and then supporting those who we need to contact in relation to the tracing. It's been going well. We've been very pleased with the way in which when people are contacted, they listen to the advice, they listen to what we're saying, they take the support that we're offering to them, and it is going well. So we're pleased with that, and it's all manual. We don't have an app in place, of course, at the moment, and it's a manual system that we're using.
Can I ask how many people you've contacted so far?
Well, it's usually about 30 a day at the moment, Andrew, and then, of course, 30 cases, per day, and then all of the contacts associated with those 30 people. Because we're still in semi-lockdown, of course, those number of contacts will be a lot less than would normally be the case if you were out and about. So it's about 8 to 10 contacts at the moment. If we were in a normal situation, we would be well above that to about 30 contacts per day. But we are making good progress in relation to that, and we're very pleased. We have put in a number of staff from health and social care. Indeed, some graduates have come forward as well to offer their services, some retired doctors, retired nurses, and so we're scaling that up, and we'll be able to scale it up and down as necessary. We believe that we're going to have to be involved in this sort of contact tracing for quite some time, possibly even up to 2 years, to make sure that we know where the virus is in our community. But it's something that is forming very much the cornerstone of coming out of lockdown and being able to relax those regulations, which we understand are very draconian.
Now, more than half the deaths in Northern Ireland from COVID-19 have happened in care homes. And like other parts of the UK, you seem to have a real problem there. Was it simply that you didn't understand how vulnerable care homes were going to be at the beginning of this?
No, we very much understood how vulnerable care homes would be, and we put in a lot of interventions. But I think if you have a low number of deaths in the first place, then understandably enough, you are going to have a concentration where there are older and vulnerable people. And we have been looking very carefully at how we can do even more for our care home residents. We are in our testing strategy. They're very much at the top of that strategy to make sure that we test and retest residents and indeed staff on an ongoing basis. So we're very, very conscious of the difficulties in care homes.
You may have been conscious, but you did not protect people in Northern Ireland care homes properly at the start of this. And again, I wonder why not.
Well, I don't accept that analysis, Andrew. I think we did. We will look back, and there'll be plenty of time to look back at how we dealt with this virus and what we put in place at that particular point in time. But I think that if you speak to care home leaders, they will recognise that the Department of Health did work with them very well. This was a virus that nobody knew how to handle at the time. It was novel, and of course, because it is novel, we're dealing with this without a rule book, and we're trying to deal with the difficulties that are ahead ahead of us. But as I say, there'll be plenty of time to look back. At the moment, what we need to do is to fight the battle within our care homes, and that's what we're very much focused on doing.
Women across Britain who've wanted an early abortion during the lockdown have been able to use telemedicine and get pills sent to them unless they live in Northern Ireland. And some may have had to leave Northern Ireland to go to get those pills from the mainland. Are you embarrassed about that?
No, I'm not embarrassed about that, Andrew. As you know, here in Northern Ireland, we value life. We very much want to support those women who find themselves in crisis pregnancy and to give them the support that they need. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who haven't been able to access healthcare right across Northern Ireland for non-COVID situations, and it's one of the issues actually that we very much now need to grapple with. The fact that we need to support not just people who find themselves in crisis pregnancies, but indeed many people who are cancer sufferers, many people who are stroke sufferers. We need to be able to now really switch on again the health system so that we can deal with all of those issues.
Now, of course, you have a border with a different state, the Republic of Ireland, and I wonder how important it's going to be as you unlock in Northern Ireland that you do everything more or less in step with the Republic. So there isn't one set of rules in Northern Ireland and one set of rules south of the border.
Well, I think the totality of relationships have been very important during this time, Andrew. We have benefited greatly from our membership of the United Kingdom economically, of course, through the many schemes that have been put there by the Chancellor, and indeed through our wonderful National Health Service, not to mention the many times that our Health Minister and indeed the rest of us have been in contact with our colleagues right across the United Kingdom. But of course, at an appropriate level, we have to engage with our colleagues in the Republic of Ireland. I'm pleased to say that that has been something that has happened organically. It's something that we do on a day and daily basis, and we'll continue to do that, because if we move at the same time, fair enough, but if we have to do things in a different way for the people of Northern Ireland, it's important that we understand each other and it's important that we talk to each other, and I think that's the important point.
Do you feel slightly crestfallen by the fact there are now going to be, the government has confirmed, checks and regulatory tests on some goods going between Northern Ireland and Great Britain, despite what was promised?
Sorry, I didn't catch
I'm
that.
just asking you about the tests that will be applied between some goods travelling between Northern Ireland and Great Britain, despite the promises that you were given beforehand.
Yes, well, of course, we voted against the protocol. We didn't think that it was the proper way forward in relation to the United Kingdom, and we were very concerned about the checks between Northern Ireland, Great Britain and vice versa. We now have to, that went through Parliament then, unfortunately. What we have to do now is minimise those checks and make sure that they do not damage the economy of Northern Ireland. People talk about the Belfast Agreement quite a lot and say that they want to protect it. The best way to protect the Belfast Agreement and the people of Northern Ireland is to make sure that there are not unnecessary checks and that our economy suffers as a result of the Northern Ireland Protocol. We're continuing to work with the United Kingdom Government on all of these issues, and we must make sure that we minimise those checks.
All right, Arlene Foster in sunny Fermanagh, thanks.